My wife is doing everything she can to save her marriage that she destroyed by cheating on me. She cheated on me and had a child with her lover. Your Honor, my client does not wish to get divorced and is asking the court to mandate counseling. She believes the marriage is strong enough to overcome this issue with a little help. That was her lawyer speaking, her being Julie, my soon-to-be ex-wife. If I had any say in it. My lawyer stood up. Your Honor, a year-long affair with multiple men resulting in the birth of a child is hardly just an issue, especially when DNA tests confirm the child is not my client's. We see no point in prolonging this farce of a marriage any further. Counseling won't change anything. It is precisely because of the child that I am inclined to order counseling, the judge responded. A child needs a stable home to grow up in. If you think I'm going to raise that cheating woman's child, I interrupted loudly. My lawyer cringed as the judge slammed his gavel. One more word, and I will hold you in contempt of court, he shouted at me. I am ordering 1 month of counseling with 2 sessions per week. You will attend, Mr. Stedman, or face consequences. He glared at me briefly, then hit the gavel again. That's all. Julie, my soon-to-be ex-wife, had a smug look on her face as I walked into the counselor's office. I'm Dr. Sullivan, but you can call me Gerald. May I call you Brian? He smiled at me. No, you may not. You will address me as Mr. Stedman, I replied. Brian, there's no need, Julie began. And you don't speak to me at all, I snapped at her. I think we need to calm down, Dr. Sullivan said. Please, Mr. Stedman, take a seat. He gestured toward one of the 2 chairs placed side by side in front of his desk. I dragged my chair a good 6 feet away from Julie and sat down. Gerald let out a sigh. All right, then, he started. I didn't catch the rest because I took out my AirPods and started listening to music on my phone. Gerald just stared at me for a moment before turning to talk to Julie. I couldn't hear what he was saying, so I kept scrolling through my phone, listening to my music. After about 15 minutes, I noticed Julie stand up. She gave me a hard glare and stormed out of the office. I took out my AirPods. All right, doctor. Great session. See you on Thursday. I'm canceling the sessions and sending my report to the judge. Even better. And with that, I left the office. The judge was clearly displeased. Give me one reason why I shouldn't hold your client in contempt, he demanded, glaring at my lawyer. Your Honor, you ordered my client to attend the sessions, and he complied by attending the first one as per the order. It was the counselor who canceled the remaining sessions, my lawyer argued. The counselor's report clearly states that your client made no effort to participate in the session. He put on headphones and ignored them the entire time, the judge shot back. The order required his attendance, my lawyer responded. He attended. Since the counselor concluded that further sessions would be ineffective, I request that you grant the divorce as per the petition. Absolutely not, the judge replied. I am ordering 4 more weeks of counseling. Mr. Stedman will attend, and he will engage in the sessions. The office was arranged exactly the same way as before when I arrived, 2 chairs, about a foot apart, facing the doctor's desk. He sat behind it. The desk was bare except for a yellow legal pad and a photo of a woman, probably in her mid-30s, along with a child who looked about 6 years old. Mr. Stedman, the doctor said, please have a seat. Once again, I started to move the chair. Julie reached out to stop me, and I recoiled. I'm letting you both know that any physical contact will be considered an attack and met with appropriate force, I said. Julie gasped, pulling back. I resumed moving the chair and then sat down. Once again, I took out my phone. Mr. Stedman, the judge ordered you to participate in this session, the doctor reminded me. I'm aware, I said. I'm using my phone to record the session to prove my participation. My lawyer informed me that some counselors can have their own agendas. Since my soon-to-be ex-wife has been seeing you for some time, I believe you may have already formed a relationship with her that could be biased against me. And what if I don't want you to record the session? The doctor asked. Then I'll go back to court and request a different counselor, I replied. I have that option. The only reason I haven't done it yet is that it would cause even more delays. Julie, how do you feel about the session being recorded? The doctor asked her. Whatever, she said, waving her hand dismissively. Can we just get started? All right, the doctor said. What I'd like to do to begin, before we start, may I ask a question? I interrupted. Of course, he replied. You can ask questions at any time. I might ask you to hold off during certain parts of the process, but you can click on share and more to see if there is a part 2. Update. My wife is doing everything she can to save her marriage that she destroyed by cheating on me. She cheated on me and had a child with her lover. Part 2. Now go ahead, he smiled at me encouragingly. Have you slept with her yet? Julie gasped, but Gerald remained unperturbed. No, he replied calmly. Julie and I have never had, and never will have, any intimacy. It would be inappropriate, even if I wasn't already happily married. Is this the answer to your question? I nodded. I believed him. He was probably one of the few men Julie had met over the past year who hadn't slept with her. All right, Gerald continued, as I was saying, I want to start by setting our expectations. Since I've already spoken to Julie a few times, I'd like her to explain what she hopes to achieve in these sessions and what her desired outcome is. While she's speaking, I ask that you hold off on any comments or questions until she's finished. After Julie has shared her goals, I'll ask you to do the same. I stayed silent, holding back any comments. I avoided looking at Julie as she began. First of all, Brian, she began, do not speak to me, I growled. Julie, talk to me, Gerald said gently. Tell me what you'd like Mr. Stedman to hear. She hesitated, then said, I want him to know how deeply sorry I am for hurting him. I understand that what I did was wrong, but I was just so lonely with all the time he spent at work and away on business trips. I realize now how much pain I caused, and if I could go back and change the past, I'd do anything to make it right. I love him more than anything in the world. I truly believe we can overcome this if he would just give me another chance. I would prove to him that I can be the best wife any man could hope for. We could raise our child together, give them a wonderful life, maybe even have another child. I want us to be together, and I know we can get through this. I believe we can. Gerald smiled at her. Okay, thanks, Julie. Now it's your turn, Brian, Mr. Stedman. What would you like to say? I gave him a cold look. I would like to see this lying, deceitful person suffer terribly. Julie burst into tears and ran out of the room. That wasn't helpful, Gerald said. I'm not trying to be helpful. That woman cheated on me for a year with half the men in the city, got pregnant, and tried to claim the baby was mine. If I hadn't been suspicious and requested a DNA test, I'd be stuck paying child support for someone else's child. Tell me, Doc, how should I be reacting? It's normal to feel angry, but you need to move beyond that anger and consider what you had, he replied. Do you really understand what you're talking about? I snapped. Have you ever felt that the love of your life, the person you trusted with your heart and soul, betrayed you so much that you doubted your own sanity? When I found out, I wanted to do something terrible to myself. And did you notice? She never apologized for what she did, not for sleeping with all these men, not for the countless lies, not for forgetting about her pregnancy, not even knowing who the father of the child was. The only thing you can be sure of is that it wasn't the person who was supposed to give birth to her child, me. So, since you have no clue what it's like to be in my shoes, don't just sit there with your holier-than-thou smile and book knowledge, telling me to overlook my anger. Right now, my anger is all I have left. Just let me rid myself of that person and try to piece together something from what she's left behind. Does that count as participating? I shot at him as I walked out of his office. Once I got home, I decided to prepare a bit for the next session. Maybe I could finally make my point. I asked Julie to let us have this session without her, Gerald stated as I walked into his office the following week. I believe we might achieve more if it's just the two of us to begin with. As long as this still counts toward the court-mandated counseling, I'm more than happy to avoid being in the same room with that woman, I replied, settling into my seat and placing the A4 envelope on my lap. Can we please avoid name-calling? It's not helpful and only hinders our progress, he urged. I'm not interested in being helpful. I just want to get through these sessions and get that person out of my life for good. I never wanted to participate in these sessions. She's hellbent on making me suffer as much as possible. She doesn't want the divorce because the prenup leaves her with nothing, so she's trying to force me to take her back. That's not going to happen. And what about the child? He is innocent. Shouldn't he be spared from? He's neither my problem nor my responsibility. By your logic, I should take in every person who couldn't keep themselves together and ended up pregnant. Those kids aren't my concern, and neither is this one. Why are you so convinced there's only one way this can? You can click on share and more. My wife is doing everything she can to save her marriage that she destroyed by cheating on me. She cheated on me and had a child with her lover. Part 3. Turns out, you clearly cared for her deeply. Those feelings don't just disappear overnight. Your anger is hiding them for now, but once it fades, and believe me, it will, you'll realize there are still feelings you can build on, feelings that could help you restore your relationship and even make it stronger. That smile returned, and I wanted to hit him. It was time for him to experience a bit of his own medicine. I pointed to the picture on his desk. You have a lovely family, I complimented. How long have you been married? We're not here to talk about it's been 11 years, if I'm not mistaken. You married your childhood sweetheart right after college. You waited to have kids, and then little Ethan came along. Is he 9 now? That picture must have been taken a couple of years ago. How did you? He began to ask. But did you know your beloved Cheryl has her own secrets? I continued. Did you happen to know that when she claims to be at Pilates class on Wednesday afternoons while you're working, she's actually at the Motel 8 on Patter, having an affair with her personal trainer? That's utterly ridiculous, he stammered, though I could see he was having doubts. He looked very pale. Really? I said, pulling several photographs from the envelope. I laid the photos on his desk, one by one. They depicted a slender woman entering a hotel room with a young, muscular man. He had his arm around her waist, and they were looking at each other with affection. Next, I pulled out a DVD and placed it on his desk as well. There's also footage from inside the room if you want actual evidence of their activities. It's quite graphic, so I wouldn't recommend watching it. I made that mistake when I received my private investigator's report, and those images will haunt me for life. He looked as if he might be sick. Oh, and one more thing, I said. Ethan. He replied quietly. Please, God, no. I pulled a DNA report from the envelope. It seems the fitness instructor isn't the first. He might be too young to be Ethan's father, but whoever the father is, it's not you, I said softly. He stood up and rushed into what I presumed was a bathroom adjoining his office. I heard him retching loudly into the toilet. Do you understand now? I asked as he sank back into his chair, tears streaming down his face. He looked at me with empty eyes. Can you see the pain she caused me and why I need to remove her from my life? He nodded weakly. Good, I said, but there's one more thing you need to know. A look of dread crossed his face. Is there more? He asked, his voice filled with despair. It's all a lie, I replied. None of what I just showed you is real. As far as I know, your wife is as loving and faithful as you believed, and Ethan is indeed your son. But the photos? He questioned. Photoshop. It's amazing what you can achieve with some Facebook posts and a bit of effort, I replied grimly. If you had anyone competent examine them, they would confirm they're all fakes. I pulled more photos from the envelope to prove it. Here are the originals I used to create them. His face was beginning to redden, and I wondered if he was about to lash out at me. The DVD? He inquired. Blank, I replied. What about the DNA report? It's actually the DNA report regarding the cheating jerk's baby. I just altered the names and dates. He sat there, taken aback for a few moments as fresh tears began to stream down his face. Why would you do this? What did you hope to achieve by destroying my marriage and my life? He asked. That was never my intention. That's why I told you almost right away that it was all fabricated. I never wanted you or your family to endure any lasting harm. I just wanted you, for once, to truly grasp the pain I experienced, the feelings of loss, anger, and hurt. You felt it for a few minutes, I'm still living it. Your temporary suffering is my everyday reality. Now, being forced to sit here with that woman, listening to her talk about how she loves me and wants me back, means I have to relive this pain over and over again. There are laws against cruel and unusual punishment. Why don't they apply here? I just want to move on, to try and salvage what little I have left and get on with my life. Why can't you and the courts allow me to do that? I collected all the documents from the table and put them back into the envelope. I'll leave this with you to dispose of, I said. I truly regret having to do this, but I needed you to understand. Then I left his office. Your Honor, I have the report from the court-ordered counseling that my client was required to attend. My lawyer spoke again to the judge. I have a copy, the judge replied gruffly. It seems the counselor believes that even after only 3 of the required 8 sessions, this marriage is beyond repair, and for the well-being of everyone involved, including the child, the best option would be to permit its dissolution. Yes, Your Honor. I request that you finalize the divorce as outlined in the petition. The judge fixed his gaze on me for a long moment. I focused straight ahead, avoiding eye contact. Granted, he finally declared, striking his gavel.